Welcome, everybody. Joe Tarnowski with ECRM, and I have with me today Santiago Urti with Green Global Foods, which is a regular ECRM participant, range meat premium member, and he's been a regular global market participant as well. So we're going to get into a little bit about his company, which does a lot of different things, has a lot of different products, his experience in dealing with buyers at our sessions, and get some best practice insights on what he does to really succeed at his meetings with buyers. So Santiago, thank you so much for joining us. And to get started, could you give us an overview of your company?
Sure. Thanks, Joe, and it's great to be here. So Green Global Foods, we're a Miami-based company. We're a food company. We do food distribution in several markets. We work in the US and Mexico, which are our two main markets, but we also have distribution in Central America and the Caribbean. Basically, sometimes it's hard to explain everything that we do because we import product, we export product, we represent overseas companies in the US and Mexico, and we represent US companies overseas as well.
How do you keep track of all of that?
Tell me about it. I'm not too sure. definitely, we need to be very organized, and we have an incredible team that it's it's always making sure that we do things right, or we try to do things right.
Sure. Well, before you get into the brands that you represent, can you talk a little bit about your import and export business and how that works, and who you,
Sure.
What areas you service? Because I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, and in the last 2 years, it's been crazy, and we will talk about it later. But basically, we import a few brands, brands from Europe, and we sell it nationwide here in the States, and we also import those companies. We ship directly from Europe to Mexico and some countries in the Caribbean. In some cases, we represent companies here in the US that we export to Mexico and the Caribbean. So we are all over the place. Our channels in Mexico, for example, we do both retail and food service. So it's two complete different animals, right? And it is we work with local distributors for food service, and also we work with distributors for retail in Mexico. So it's quite challenging. Lately, it's been even more challenging, but. Yeah,
I hear you with all the supply chain issues, which we'll get into a little bit of that. So you were going to talk about the products, some of the products you represent. To tell us the lineup.
Yeah, so we basically we started representing bakery lines, but in the past years we increased our line to different categories. But all the lines that we go through a process of making sure that the lines that we introduce to the markets are aligned with what we want for the market. So definitely premium products, definitely better for you products that are market ready, and that's challenging nowadays because everyone wants to sell their products in the US or Mexico. They're great markets, but sometimes you need to make sure that these brands are market ready, right? Mm-hmm. And that's challenging because in some cases when you have companies from overseas, they are very successful in their own markets, mm-hmm. but sometimes they don't understand that they need to make sure that they are successful in a different market with a different consumer, right? Mm-hmm. So
and different buyers too. I mean, the buyers have different needs. Like, for example, one thing that we've heard is, well, I know a lot of buyers in the United States, for example, really want you to have EDI. They will not talk to you unless you could do, business and exchange information electronically. And Absolutely. Some brands in other countries are not set up for that. So they're a little shocked when they come here, and it's like, why don't they want to do business with me? So that's, one particular issue we've heard a lot of. Is that one of the things that you work with them on?
That's exactly how it works. And it's not only EDI, but it's all these certifications. I always tell to our partners that if you're planning to gain the market, you need to be ready to sell to a mom and pop, but you need to be ready, and you need to be ready to sell to a retail chain that needs SQF or BRC or AFS, that needs EDI. Because what's the meaning of coming into a market when you can just approach a certain part of the market? So that for me is a key point. We need to make sure that our brands are market ready, and not for one single channel, but we want to be ready for all the whole market. So that's very important.
Gotcha. And you offer a lot of services around that, like strategy, market research, co-packing. Can you talk a little bit about some of those services?
Yeah. So to be honest, we are basically we represent the brands that we represent. We represent them exclusively in the markets that we work with. And we are partners. We actually buy product and sell products. We are a distributor. All the service that we provide is actually part of we need them to be ready for us to be successful.
Yeah.
And yes, we do help them with making sure that they're in compliance on packaging, in compliance with the production facilities, marketing. Sometimes they need to adapt their products to the U.S. market. Give them a little twist to make sure that it's more appealing to the U.S. consumer. So that's part of it's not a service that we sell. It's just how we work. We need to do that in order to gain the markets that we work at.
Yep. So you just basically you're setting them up for success, getting them all ready to jump right into retail.
Their success is our success. So that's what we need to do. Yep.
Now, it seems that wellness is a big area that you address. You mentioned before healthier foods, and I checked on your website, and you have the gluten-free stuff. You have the low-carb breads, and that seems to be a real big point with your company.
That's for us. It's very important. That's part of we love wellness. We love exercising. It's part of it's on us. And in 2020, we created one of our own brands, which is the Primal Bakery. You can check it out, theprimalbakery.com. And that's exactly, we're very proud of this brand because it's exactly what we wanted to bring to the market, right? So better for you products, and but in a way that because we have all these new trends. Veganism is a big trend, keto, protein. So we wanted to put all of them together in a category that usually is not that healthy, right? So we created crackers, breads, wraps that are very high in protein, keto certified, and we partnered with the Paleo Association and we certified them keto. And they're vegan, they're no sugar added at all, high on fiber. It's an incredible line. We're doing really good with it, and that's actually one of our in 2020 we wanted to create our own brands. Start after so many years in the market, we know who we needed to partner with, and we created Primal Bakery, and that's about it. It's better for you product, but in a category that it's an everyday category. That's what we wanted to bring to the market. So we're very proud and we're very happy as well.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, personally, I'm going to have to check them out because I usually avoid baked goods. I avoid bread. And, but if there's better, higher protein, low carb options, I will definitely look into that.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to send you some so you can try them. You're going to love them.
Deal. We'll do it. So what challenges are you facing? I mean, you have so many components to the business. You're dealing with shipping. You got to be facing some transportation issues or, other issues involved with that. Some caused by the pandemic, some not. But what challenges are you currently facing and how are you kind of addressing them?
Yeah, that's a great point. We are definitely, it's been 2021, it's been challenging. Supply chain, we had, for us that we import product, we had, just to give you an idea, we were paying for a container from Europe about 3,500,
Mhm.
and the last container that we shipped to the US had just arrived. We paid $11,000. So it's and then we get delays on shipping, not only international, not only overseas shipping, but also internally here in the US with our LTL carriers or FTL.
Mhm.
We have price increases, we have delays, we have a shortage of trucks,
Mhm.
and there's certain things that there's nothing you can do about, and this is one of those things. You can stress out all you want, but you won't gain anything, and there's nothing you can really do. So for us, it's all about working with our clients, working with our suppliers, working with our partners, our service suppliers. It's just about having clear communication. That's so important nowadays, because years ago, or 2 3 years ago, you were running out of a product, and you had a PO from a client, and you probably will lose that client. I think nowadays, and this is something that we need to. It's due to this crisis, is that everyone understands that this is something that is completely out of our hands, and so we need to work all together in finding a solution. So if that happens today, because there is a delay on an order because of there are no trucks or overseas shipping, now buyers they do understand, but you need to have a very clear and close communication with them. That's all we can do about it, and it's so important, because sometimes we get so freaked out when something like this happens that you don't know what to do, and it's just as simple as call your buyer, call your partner, call your supplier, and find out what's going on and be clear about what the situation is.
I think that's such an important point, and there are a lot of buyers that I speak with during our sessions, and you're right. They all understand. They know what's happening. They know it's not your fault. They know, there may be transportation issues. There may be ingredient sourcing issues. There may be packaging. Some suppliers have
Labor.
trouble finding packaging, labor, and it's not just the shipping. It's like you said, there's a truck driver shortage in this country. So it's all but being transparent about it, letting them know exactly where
Absolutely.
you stand, letting them know, hey, we can do this, or saying, hey, we just cannot do this. How can I help you in another way? But just being upfront, being transparent is probably the best thing you could do.
And there are ways just an example. One of our co-packers, they were having labor issues, and we just moved our lead time from 2 weeks to 4 weeks,
Mhm.
and now we manage our inventory differently. So, but we had to sit down and discuss and find a solution altogether. So, that's exactly how it works nowadays.
Yeah, so just get all the stakeholders involved, see what we could do, and then just be clear about what the expectations are and how they've changed.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Cool.
Mhm.
Well, so, and it sounds like you have a really good handle on that. And I know that ECRM and RangeMe and our global market have been a part of your evolution. You've been involved. You've been coming to our sessions since I think you mentioned back in 2007. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with us? Why do you keep coming back?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I did my first ECRM show back in 2007, San Diego, bakery show, and it was my well, actually, now that I'm thinking, and I think my first show was with. I had one meeting with Walgreens here in Miami with a Walgreens regional buyer, and it went really good. And then that's how we we started. Then we went to San Diego to the bakery show, and that was such a great experience for us because the fact that you have one-to-one meetings and you know who are you meeting with, that's amazing. That was completely different. And don't get me wrong, I love shows like in-person shows. We've been regular in IDBA. We've been regular in the fancy food, but they're great shows. But you're sometimes overwhelmed with talking to everyone that stops at your booth. Sometimes you're missing the person that you really want to talk to, and sometimes you spend time talking to. It's not that you spend time, but you're missing an opportunity, and you don't know, right? So the fact that you know who are you meeting with and you can prepare for that meeting, that was awesome. We love that experience, and we kept doing it. But then COVID hit, right? And then I remember I was sitting here at my office, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Because we had 2 shows canceled. We needed to keep meeting buyers and even buyers that we already work with, but we keep having that conversation and introducing new products. So that's when we strengthened our partnership with ECRM. We started to do it in I can't remember how many shows we've done since COVID started. And honestly, a part of the growth of the company in the last two years is because of this partnership. We are very thankful for that. We've done bakery shows, keto shows,
Wow.
diversity shows, the global market, one-on-one meetings, and it's been a great experience. We got leads, a lot of new leads, but we also had deals. I mean, we started selling to some companies. We have now a bigger distribution nationwide. And I think it was just a part that is such a great solution for buyers and vendors and suppliers. That you guys became our tool to be out there.
That's awesome. Glad to hear it. And the global market is something that's new for us. And you've been to you've been to that already. You're coming to the next one. Tell us about your global market experience. Just the whole thing from setting up on Range Me to the actual program itself and the meetings that you had.
Yeah, we're gonna do our 3rd global market now. I think we've been in all of them, or we're gonna be in all of them. One important thing, price wise, it's super convenient.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a you don't have to think much about it, and for us it was awesome. We always try to keep all our products up to date in Range Me, and we try to keep Range Me complete with the whole information. We try to be detailed. We have our brands verified as well, and we know that buyers are going to look into it, and if you don't have it, if you don't have a good brand on Range Me, it's going to be harder for you to get meetings in the shows, right? The global market, it opened a few. We export, and we have brands that we can sell anywhere in the world, and we have had meetings with buyers from overseas that were just great meetings. People that we wanted to work and we didn't know how to approach. So for us, the global market it's been great, and it's easy to handle. You know who you're meeting with. That to me, it's so important. You can prepare your meeting for that buyer, and it's been a great experience. It's we're looking forward to the next one, which is next month, right? March.
Yep, it's coming up. And what about the content? Have you watched some of the educational sessions during it?
Oh, we try to be in all of them. If we don't have a conflict with meetings and stuff, we try to do them all. We believe in learning new things, and you have great speakers, and definitely we try to be in all of them. And yeah, they're awesome. I would highly recommend them. and it's
Excellent.
incredible having the point of view of, because we are so immersed on our day-to-day things, and we want to sell and we want to sell, and we think that we know how to do it, and then you hear this buyer, which he tells you or she tells you exactly what they're expecting from a vendor, or it's just amazing. We like to see them all.
That's great. Well, we have a great content lineup coming for
Yep.
you in March as well, and so it should be another awesome experience. So now you've had a lot of success with your meetings, and that doesn't happen without prep. Tell us a little bit. Give us a little insights into what you think makes your meetings a success with a buyer.
Yeah, I can't tell enough, but preparation in any show or program, in person or virtual, it's so important, right? Preparation, follow up, they're keys. But when you know who are you meeting with,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't prepare for that particular meeting, that's sad, because you have a great opportunity there, and that's how we approach every single program with ECRM. We know who we're meeting with, and we sometimes we even have, if we have 20 minutes, sometimes we have 20 different presentations, because we know who we're meeting. We have the chance to learn what they're maybe looking at. You go through the information on the buyer, but you can also go through their stores. You can learn more about what they're maybe missing, what they may be looking at. So the fact that you can prepare for each meeting, that's so valuable, and that's how we try to do it. Of course, follow up is very important, and we never done the 5 minutes meeting. We always done the 10 and 20, and 10 it's just enough. I think from now on we're going to keep going with the 20 minutes meeting, because it's important to present your lines, but also you need to save some time to listen to the buyer, right? And sometimes we like to speak, and time flies. So the 20 minutes meeting, it's perfect for us. And yeah, but definitely preparation, it's so important here, and we have the opportunity to prepare for each single meeting, right?
Yeah, and you nailed it. I mean, if you already know who you're going to meet with, so why wouldn't you prep for each one? And what I like is that you customize your presentations for each one as well. So talk about the presentation itself. How many do you use? A lot of slides? Are you data heavy? Or you already said you leave a lot of time for Q&A, which I agree, it's a very important thing. So the meeting itself, how do you approach that?
So first of all, depending on the meeting that we're having, if it's 20 or 10 minutes, we practice. We actually practice it here at the office. We want to make sure that we cover everything in 10 minutes. I think it's important to present the company, but just what they really want to hear about the company, certifications that you have. I wouldn't waste too much of your valuable time on going through the whole history of a company, a mission, vision. They can find out about that in your description. But I think it's important you do a quick introduction, and these certifications that you have. That's something that buyers always love to hear. We go straight to products and why our products, right? Why our products should be at their stores or at their warehouses, depending if it's food service, retail. We always like to give an idea of pricing, even though sometimes you may think that it's a little premature. I think it's important for them, of course, MSRP, but also they need to understand what their margin will be, or have an idea of it. And I get it. Sometimes we don't have the whole information to provide pricing, but you have options, and you, again, being clear and having a clear communication. This is my FOB price to you. And then, of course, if we need to ship or if you have marketing that we need to consider, then that's a further discussion, right? But at least you can give them a whole idea of not the product, the program that you're offering, because I think that's important. They're not trying to buy products; they're trying to buy a program, right? And always leave a few minutes, 2 minutes, 20% of your time or 10% of your time to Q&A to learn more about them. Sometimes meetings they have their own life. You figure it out in your head, but then when you start a meeting, they start talking, and that happens too. You need to go with the flow, but just be straightforward and say, okay, listen, I would love to spend some time here. I want to tell you about this product and this product, and then we can set up another meeting to discuss to keep discussing. But keeping it fresh, organized, and straight communication. That's important.
That's great. And I like the way you talk about the why. Why is it important for them? Why are they going to why should they do it? You talk in terms of the buyer's needs, in terms of what they're going to benefit from. And the price thing kind of helps give them a framework. Like you said, you may not have all the details, but kind of you give them an idea of what they can work with. And all of that helps for them to make their decisions, which is great.
Absolutely.
And then in a follow-up, you follow up by email, phone, whatever, basically however the buyer wants you to, right?
Yeah, and that's the call to action it's important, right? So you need to finish your meeting with a call to action. Okay, what's our next step, right? And I love straight answers, either positive or not that positive. I think the fact that a buyer says, "Listen, I'm not interested," that's amazing, and I appreciate that. Rather than the buyer that won't tell you what they really think, and then they will ghost you. But the call to action is real, and the fact that you need to end up your meetings with a call to action, making sure that you know what to do and how to follow up. And most of the buyers, I will tell you, they will be pretty straightforward and will say, "Listen, send me an email, send me samples." In my experience, 50% of the time or 60% of the time, which is amazing, they immediately after my meeting they request samples through RangeMe. Which that for me it's great. I want them to try my product, so that's great. And but the call to action is real. Call, ask what they prefer to the follow up to be.
And that's a good point that you brought up about if they tell you they're not interested, well, that's a good thing in the sense that you don't have to waste your time pursuing them anymore. You could pursue newer opportunities rather than wasting your time following up with somebody who doesn't give you an answer only to be ghosted, like you said. So because time is valuable for both sides, and it's better to just be upfront and transparent on both. So this way it's like, you know what, you're not for us, but good luck with the rest, and because there's plenty others out there that you can approach.
Not only that, but when you get a no, you know that you cannot do the same approach to that buyer, right? You need to rethink about what you're doing, and maybe you come up with a different product, a different idea, or a different program, and that rings a bell. So
it definitely doesn't necessarily mean no forever. Just no for right now, down the road, they may have a new buyer, or they may, all of a sudden they may be interested in a particular segment that you specialize in. So things always change. The market changes. People's tastes change. You've seen it yourself. You had at one point, fat was bad, carbs were great. Then all of a sudden the opposite happened. And that's now, people, vegans hot, paleo's hot, this and that. So if they're just following the trends, well, maybe there's no need for what you have now, but there will be in a year or two. And you just can't tell. So just keeping them in mind and maybe staying in touch over the years, and then eventually the time comes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Well, last question is
Mhm.
virtual, right? So you've been through face to face and the virtual, and virtual is really pretty much it's a part of everyday life. How has virtual changed the way you do business, and where do you see it going in the future?
That's a good question. I'll be honest with you. At the beginning, I was kind of missing the fact that you were traveling to have a meeting, traveling with samples, and meeting the buyers in person. With time, and I think virtual is here to stay, and I actually really like that because I think in-person meetings are important. And we still keep doing that, but when you have the market is so big, you have so many people that you want to meet, and my budget on travels, just that it went down incredible much. So just that it's great.
Mhm.
The fact that you can have a meeting with someone, and before it was like, okay, let's set up a meeting, and it was weeks from the day that you find a spot. So you both find a spot to you can travel. Now it's just a lot more simple, and I really think that that's important, that we are not so formal on our meetings anymore, that we can do this and we can have success through virtual meetings. And I really think that this is here to stay,
Mhm.
and I think it's good for everybody. And regardless that we need to keep doing the in-person meetings, but the way I see it now is my in-person meetings are more for current customers,
Mhm.
people that I'm already working with,
Yeah.
and I want to see how things are going. We're going to discuss about we don't have a time frame. We're just gonna have a 1 hour meeting that we're gonna discuss about everything. We may go to stores, see what's going on out there. Same thing with my producers. I like to go to my production days, and those are my in-person meetings.
Mhm.
But everything else for me is virtual now.
Mhm.
So it definitely stays. It's here to stay, and I really like that.
Well, there's an efficiency aspect and time savings aspect, so you can actually get more done. Like you said, the crucial meetings, the one that are more complicated, maybe you're working on a product or a launch strategy or something, or your producers, you want to spend some more quality time with them. But if it's a new introductory meeting, well, where you don't even know you're going to do business yet, why not do that virtually? And then if it progresses, then you can go to that in person.
But just think about, for example, the global market.
Mhm.
On the first global market, I had a meeting with the company in Chile, another one in Honduras, another one in Costa Rica, and a fourth one in Mexico. Those were my international meetings, plus the domestic ones, right? And I had that in 2 days, right? 15 minutes meetings. I think it was 15. Uh, think about if I had to go to an in-person meeting with each one of these buyers. I mean, that would be weeks until we found the time. Uh, Flights, hotels. It's some going to Chile. It's an 8 hours and a half flight. Just that. So it's the fact that virtual is here. It's really very helpful.
And it breaks down borders. It breaks down the
Hmm.
borders. It's
Hmm.
it brings everybody closer together. So, well,
Absolutely.
Santiago, thank you so much, and I wish you the best of luck at your third global market. I know you're going to crush it
Thank you,
again,
bro.
and I look forward to. I'll catch up with you afterwards, and we'll see how that one went.
Awesome. Great talking to you.
You
And
too.
thanks for everything.